Well, Greg, we're back here with another episode of Funny Book Forensics. And last time we spent an hour and 30 minutes talking about the amazing Keebler-sponsored New Teen Titans drug awareness comic book from 1983.
Oh, yeah. It was...
And we were introduced to a new character.
The Protector.
They called the Protector, yes. In fact, at the end of the episode, we read his Who's Who entry.
Yes.
By the way, I did look this up in my giant Who's Who. His Who's Who entry was actually in the Who's Who supplement. It wasn't in the original issues. But still, it made it there.
Okay.
I mean, and so, hey, he had a Who's Who entry. He also had a Titan Secret File entry.
Oh, wow.
In 2000, in Titan Secret Files number 2. He didn't make it into number 1.
Mm.
He also appeared in 2 issues of Teen Titans Go.
Did he?
Yes.
Wow.
And appeared in 2 issues of Tiny Titans, which, what? What would this character be doing in Tiny Titans?
Checking for drugs?
I guess. I mean, are the, 5-year-olds on drugs now?
Well, with every generation, you gotta be prepared.
When I was 5, I started with alcohol and pot.
Yep.
And then I tried PCP.
They get younger and younger.
And I huffed, and I huffed, and I huffed whipped cream cans.
Oh,
and that escalated into using black tar heroin.
The wubba wubba sound? That from what I hear.
Which Tiny Titan would it be, by the way? Which Tiny Titan would have been the drug addict?
Oh, man. I don't know.
How can you not know? I mean, you're an expert on these cartoons.
I'm an expert on these cartoons.
I'm going to go with Aqualad.
You're going to go with Aqualad?
Yes.
Sad.
I'm going with Aqualad. Kid Devil?
Yes.
Kid Devil and Aqualad are druggy buddies. And they're pressuring all the other Tiny Titans to use drugs. But the Protector comes in and he takes care of it. I think the story writes itself.
It does. They started out, it was fun, and then they just kept pushing themselves in each other to do more, to chase it, and it just got worse. It spiraled, and that's where the Protector came.
Well, the important thing, too, is the Protector, because Tom King is a brilliant author.
Yeah.
Was also in Heroes in Crisis.
Uh-huh.
And he was in the facility where heroes go when they need a rest.
Oh.
And they need mental repair. And he checked into the stress of being a vigilante. But also reveals in the series that he is indeed on drugs.
Oh, my. What was he doing?
Drugs.
With the drugs?
He was just doing the drugs.
The drugs.
I actually don't remember what he was doing, but he was just doing the drugs.
Maybe our listener will let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to go read it. I haven't read it again in a while, but there we go. The drugs. A drug addiction problem.
Oh, my.
Then he was summarily murdered.
The mighty have fallen. And then he was murdered?
Oh, you've not read the story.
No, I have not.
Yeah, Wally West goes and murders everybody.
Spoiler.
Now, that may be part of the story I don't like. Yeah, it was a spoiler. By the way, if you haven't read Heroes in Crisis, I just spoiled the entire thing.
Dang, dude. Well, I guess you're never doing that.
When do you plan on reading it?
I don't know. If you put it in the box, I would.
Well, it came out in 2019, so...
Oh, well, that's the problem, man. I don't read the new stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're too good for the new stuff. I'm an indie creator. I don't read the new things.
No, I don't have time.
Mainstream books.
I don't have time to read everything that comes out, dude.
I know you don't have time to read everything that comes out, but you sounded so indie creator right there.
No.
I don't read the new stuff.
I don't read the new stuff.
I only read the old things.
I only read the old stories.
The only comics good enough for me are the comics with the Protector on the cover from 1980. That's right.
When they're brought to me by the President's Drug Awareness Campaign.
Brought to you in cooperation with the President's Drug Awareness Campaign. Let's not pin the creation of this comic book on them. They only sponsored it.
They sponsored
Marv
it.
Wolfman is going to have to take full responsibility for this script.
I know. Oh, my.
Well, we have a cover which is not drawn by George Perez. And it's evident that it's not drawn by George Perez. I'm going to insult an artist I actually like just fine, but this is clearly not George Perez.
True.
And we've got the Protector swinging in on a on a rope.
On a bat rope. Oh, on
A
a rope.
A rope.
Yep.
And it's pretty typical Titans cover. We've got Wonder Girl up in the corner swinging her lasso. We got, if it was a George Perez cover, though, Starfire would have been coming through the middle above everybody, right?
Probably,
It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And her fire hair would look way cooler.
Way cooler.
And we're going to see if Raven continues to tell us every time somebody feels bad for using drugs.
They're feeling bad, and I can feel it.
We've got Cyborg here, and no sign of Speedy this time, which seems interesting because Speedy was the catalyst for getting those kids off drugs last time.
I know.
And where is Speedy?
Is he on the Ferris wheel? Is he?
I don't know, but we've got Kid Flash.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Because,
see, what you didn't know is Wally West hates the Protector so much that he's going to come kill him later.
Oh, my God. He's just running through this to get there.
Well, let's see. We're gonna find out.
Okay.
By the way, Wally ended up being okay and stuff
afterwards. Okay.
Well, maybe there was a little bit of fan backlash when Wally West starts murdering other heroes.
I would imagine so.
Like, it's one of those times when Tom King writes a pretty good mystery story, but then, maybe you don't make one of the most beloved heroes a Flash that people like more than Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Most people do, because Mark Waid did a better job writing the character than most of Barry Allen's lifetime as a comic book character. So, yeah. Anyway, so you don't bring back one and then get rid of the other one and then have him murder people. That can make people, fanboys could get upset about that. It could happen.
I suppose it could.
That really annoys me too. My phone just beeped as I was pressing the do not disturb button. Because we are a professional outfit and I cannot push the do not disturb button before we stop. And I literally moved my phone toward the mic to hit the button, and and my wonderful Star Trek communicator tone rang.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think we're done with the cover. They're swinging in an amusement park. It looks like they're going to get the drug dealers.
They're going to get them.
And by the way, these drug dealers are carrying around packets of 11 by 8.5 by 11 paper.
Oh, yeah. That's what it totally looks like, printer paper.
Yeah. So the dangers of printer paper.
Man,
I thought
heavy.
that was in the next issue with IBM.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here we go. We open the comic book, and I'm not reading it again.
You're not going to read it again?
We have the exact same letter from our dear friend Nancy Reagan.
This one looks better. It doesn't. It looks cleaner.
Well, it's because it's on the shiny paper.
Oh, okay.
Because it's on the shiny cover paper on the inside.
Oh, I see. So,
but it still looks like it's a photo from like 1962.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think the Watergate gunman is like in there somewhere.
I don't know.
He missed though, because that's why he went to Dallas. It's a little piece of history you didn't know. I picked that up from Oliver Stone.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. I mean, Oliver Stone knows everything. So, he's probably like right in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Well,
100%.
They are the best there is.
They are.
And I'm not reading this again because we have the same intro.
It's the same intro.
They're the best around.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the rest of the words, right?
You're the best around. You're the only one that answers my phone when I call because no one else.
I don't think those are the words, but okay. So, writer, we're going to give full credits for this one. Writer, Marv Wolfman. Thanks, Marv. Take that paycheck and run. A penciler, Ross Andru, who is not George Perez. And it's really bad because Ross Andru is a really good penciler.
Oh, yeah.
But when you put Ross Andru next to George Perez, it's like putting anybody next to George Perez, right?
It's a different book.
Inker, Joe Giella. Ben Oda, lettering. Adrienne Roy, coloring. Dave Manak, editor. And special thanks, and we thank you too, to Bruce Miller and Stephen Jacobs. I'm not sure why they're getting special thanks or what they did. Maybe they're the ones that redrew the somebody into the Protector.
Oh, maybe.
Because somebody had to go through these books and redraw a character.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this one is even worse with the Protector because in the very opening scene, it's very obvious that it's Robin.
It is.
And there's no setup to explain it away in this book. In the other book, they give us a nice setup to explain away what happened, but here we have no explanation.
Yeah, it's very Robin.
So there's drug dealers, the Scooby and the gang. I mean, the Titans are going to go get them.
Go get them. It's a battle.
And they're talking about that these guys are going to push. Let's see, what's Wonder Girl say? I don't know. I'm just going to read it. Starfire says, "What are they doing?" I don't know, Starfire. You're staking out drug dealers. Like, what do you think they're doing? And then Cyborg says, "Unloading their drugs, Starfire." And Wonder Girl says, "To peddle their kid pushers who sell them in their schools." And then the Protector says, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go get him." And he seems strangely in charge for somebody who's just on like Titans, like reserve duty.
Right.
Honorary Titan. He really seems like he's in charge. Like he's running their tactical game.
Totally.
Well, we get to page 2 and we get a big fight with drug dealers to start out.
Oh, yeah.
And the drug dealers know it's the Protector. So they know more about the Protector than we do.
Oh, the Protector.
Oh, no. And
I mean, he puts a hurt on them. Like,
he does. He's like throws them through a window. Protector likes to probably murder people, apparently.
I would assume so. He likes to put the hurt, for sure.
And Starfire's all holier than thou again. She says, "You don't even care that those drugs can hurt kids." Because again, as we learned last time, the drug dealers are about making profits.
That's right.
Unlike the people that sponsor this comic book.
Who's sponsoring this one, Dan?
Oh, well, let me tell you. Let me get back to the end here. I want to make sure I read this exactly correct so we don't get sued.
Okay. Because last time it was Keebler.
I don't even know if this group is still around. I assume they are a big lobbying group. The National Soft Drink Association, the NSDA, is the sponsor of this comic book.
The NSDA.
National Soft Drink Association. I am sure the members of the National Soft Drink Association are not into making profits.
Oh, no, not at all.
And I'm definitely sure they're not into addicting their customers to sugar and caffeine.
Probably not.
Well, when I type in NSDA, do you want to guess what comes up?
What comes up?
The National Speech and Debate Association.
Oh.
That is no longer the NFL. They changed their name from the National Forensics League. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
National Soft Drink Association changed their name in 2004.
Oh, what did they change it to?
To the American Beverage Association. ABBA.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay. And who are the members of the American Beverage Association? Because it's very clear that Speech and Debate didn't have enough money to sponsor this.
Let's see. They represent America's non-alcoholic beverage industry. ABBA was founded in 1919 as the American Bottlers of Carbonated Beverages and renamed the National Soft Drink Association in 1966. Today, ABA represents hundreds of beverage producers, distributors, franchise companies, and support industries. So
and they even had those albums in the 70s, right?
Yeah. They basically are like everybody that makes bottled beverages, flavors, diet sodas, bottled water, and water beverages, 100% juices, juice drinks, sports drinks, and ready-to-drink teas and energy drinks. Anything that you can put into your body from a bottle or a can.
I see. And what was your favorite ABBA song?
Dancing Queen.
Okay. I mean, that's an easy one.
That is an easy one. I mean, what's your favorite ABBA song?
I mean, probably Dancing Queen, I guess. I don't really know a lot of... Maybe Mamma Mia?
Oh, Mamma Mia.
No,
great movie. They made a great movie.
Waterloo.
Oh, Waterloo. There you go.
Yeah, that would be my favorite.
And I think in Mamma Mia, they used all those songs.
Yeah, and in fact, I think this comic is Marv Wolfman's Waterloo.
Oh, is it?
I'm just going to let that one sit there. So, yeah, anyway, we get a big fight. Is that fair to say? With a lot of preaching about how drug dealers are terrible people.
Yes.
Okay. And Starfire still saying, "I'm from another planet. Kid Flash, I don't understand why kids use drugs if they know drugs can kill." And Kid Flash is like, nobody thinks they're going to die. Besides, when you start taking drugs, you think it's fun to do. It's only later when you're physically or psychologically addicted. Oh, it's this issue. Yeah, here we go. That you realize drugs can be a killer, but by then it may be too late. Yeah, because this is the issue where they tell us how pot is psychologically addicted, which is not true.
It's not?
Okay. No, there's 0 studies because, they wouldn't let people study it to prove that.
Oh, they just tell you.
Well, of course, because it's, it leads to, if you take pot tomorrow you're going to be on black tar heroin.
Well, then don't do that.
Or maybe white tar heroin.
Is there such a thing?
I don't think so.
Okay. He's making stuff up, people.
I do. And it's what happens.
The Protector would tell you that.
Well, they round up, they're lassoed up here, and the Protector announces, it's the federal task force.
We did their job.
Well, I wonder, since this is sponsored by, isn't it sponsored by the Drug Enforcement Administration?
I do believe so.
Why they can't just say, yes, in assistance with the U.S. Customs Service, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Office. Oh, so they probably just had a dick swinging contest, and they couldn't call them either the Drug Enforcement Administration or the Federal Bureau of Investigations or the Customs Service. So they just call them the Federal
Task Force?
Yeah,
the Federal Task Force.
Okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. So they can't even cooperate enough to. That's hilarious. So they can't even cooperate enough to just give one group the credit.
Well, of course.
That's funny. Okay.
They have to call it something totally ambiguous to cover all the bases.
Well, here we go. I mean, it's fine.
And so
the
Clark
Federal
Kent comes
Task
in.
Force. Yeah. The Federal Task Force tells them, "Oh, it's only the small shipment, you guys. We got to continue this war. Can you help us?" They don't say war this time, but can you help us? And he says, "What about the Titans? We could use," or the Protector says, "Count on me." Count me in. Sorry. I'll make sure I get his lines right. I wouldn't want to be sued by the Protector.
Oh, I mean, he's not alive anymore.
Says, "What about the Titans? We could use your superpowers to stop those drug smugglers' plans." Ha ha. I almost think this guy should be twirling a mustache. Doesn't he look like Jim Cornette?
I thought he looked like
James E.
Clark
Cornette.
Kent.
He looks like a kind of pudgy version of Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Which could be James E. Cornette.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just looking for his tennis racket. Do you think he would turn heel, though, and he'd probably support the drug dealers?
If they paid him enough, he probably would.
Well, now we're off, and the Protector pulls Kid Flash aside, and boy, does he have an important thing to share with him. His cousin, Ted Hart, just moved to Blue Valley. Oh, wow. This does not hold up either, that name. I didn't even think about this while I was reading.
Huh?
You know who Teddy Hart is, right?
Who's
the
Teddy Hart?
Wrestler?
The wrestler?
About to have a documentary written about him about maybe doing really bad things to women.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, this doesn't hold up well. And he used a lot of drugs too.
Oh man.
Eek. Okay. Well, Marv, you should have known this was going to happen with his name 30 years later and not put this name in here. This is one more thing.
Should have had the foresight.
Bad writing right there. And so it's funny to read it in that context because the Protector's like, yeah, he had a bad drug problem. Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez. Oh, man.
He almost died a year back. Yeah, we know. Anyway, he's working on staying straight. And since you live in Blue Valley, I thought you might keep an eye on him. All right, so we're going to Blue Valley. Alrighty. I love Blue Valley. It's a great town. It's home of Wally West.
Yeah, let's go.
And a few other heroes. Maybe we'll explore that. Maybe they'll show up. Do you think Stargirl will show up?
Maybe.
What state is Blue Valley located in?
What state?
Yes.
Hold on. I'm thinking the
what state
analogs.
Of the Union? There's states, right? You've heard of
no, I was. Damn it, my brain isn't working right now.
Well, it's in
Nebraska.
Reading
about Teddy Hart.
Let me help.
Legal troubles.
Yeah, don't read about Teddy Hart. It's not gonna make you happy.
It is not good. Okay, what state?
It's in Nebraska. So.
See, I would have been far off.
Well, anyway, originally Blue Valley was the home of Rudy and Mary West and their son Wally, better known as Kid Flash. But years later, it became home to Courtney Whitmore and Pat Dugan, better known as Star Spangled Kid and Stripe.
Ah.
Or Stargirl.
I see.
Well, Pat Dugan was better known as Star Spangled Kid and Stripe. But anyway, Stars and Stripe.
I get it.
Actually, he wasn't the Star Spangled Kid, but he was Stripesy. So I'm really messing this up right now. But anyway, Pat Dugan was Stripesy, and then Courtney Whitmore got the staff, and she became Stargirl. There we go. Okay, but she got the staff from the Star Spangled Kids. So I can see where people will be confused.
It'll all be in the show notes, people. It'll all be in the show notes.
I don't even know if this will be in the show notes. Just go watch the show. They'll tell you.
Just watch the show. Take
you
your notes from
Stargirl,
there.
They explain it, or you can go read the.
And then you'll find out that there's all these villains that live there side by side, and everybody's happy except who's not happy.
I love the Stargirl show.
Oh no, I know, but who's not happy that everyone's there?
Well, the Justice Society of Evil.
Exactly.
Injustice Society, sorry.
They're not happy.
I combined the Monster Society of Evil with the Injustice Society. Just that doesn't work either. Oh my God, I just combined Fawcett and DC. See that?
Wow.
Oof. Okay.
Oof.
Well, anyway.
Okay.
So Wally's like, yeah, I'll make sure people don't do drugs. And this is where the brewing hatred for the Protector begins.
Oh my gosh, because he sent
It started here.
It started here because the Protector sent him on a babysitting mission.
Yep. And he's like, why do I have to do this stupid crap for the Protector? In 30 years in another comic, I'm going to murder him in cold blood.
That's right. It all started today.
Well, as the day passes, and the Harts live in that house. Well, thank you, exposition lad. My mom met Mrs. Hart and says she's an awfully nice person. Of course she is, because they live in Blue Valley.
Of course.
Everybody's nice in Blue Valley, except, the bad guys.
Except for the bad guys.
And Eclipso. I'm going to start spoiling Stargirl for you, too.
That's okay.
You should really... You should watch Stargirl. Your other would like that show.
I've been trying to watch it, and it's one of those things where it's like, if I want to watch certain things, I know Anne won't watch it. And it's a show that she will.
I think Anne would like Stargirl.
Well, there's too much. She would feel like there's too much explanation. Well, what do I need to know? You don't need to know anything. Just watch it.
It starts from scratch, and it's basically superhero Archies, and she'd love it.
Well, I try to explain that to her, and she's like, nah, I don't know. She does that with every series that I'm like, hey, watch this with me.
And it's got all sorts of references to Golden Age heroes and villains too. It's really great.
It would be
you would absolutely love it.
Yeah, it would be a great way for her to learn about the books that she has on the shelf.
Well, anyway.
Yes.
Wally introduces himself to Ted. I'm going to do some summarization here. They go for a walk. They talk about his problems. And then he goes to school. And he said, yes, I started out with beer and pot.
Oh.
And then I went to uppers, downers, cocaine, and PCP. Everybody loves their angel dust. What the hell?
It was hot back then, man. It was the hotness.
Apparently, the most dangerous drug in America in 1977, I guess. Yeah. Whatever. Maybe still dangerous now, according to Newsweek in 2019.
I would say it is dangerous. It's not. I don't think it's on the popularity scale. But then again, people are getting the same effects of putting their dipping smokables in embalming fluid, right?
Yeah,
dude, that's why.
It's just weird to me that they're so focused on everybody being on PCP. It's like everybody's on PCP.
Yeah,
it's just And then he says, sometimes I still flash back and I get real scared.
Oh man.
The thing that I don't get about this, and they, of course, when I was a little kid and they were doing these comics for me and telling us this in school, I thought all this was true because my teachers in these pamphlets and these books are telling me these things, right?
Yeah.
This is one of those things where, they're heroin is a really bad thing. Crystal meth is a really bad thing. I assume PCP is a really bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know as much about it, but I assume it's a really bad thing. But there are so many true things that are really bad. Why do they have to make shit up?
I don't know. To put the fear in you, Dan. So little Danny
it only
reading
leads
this
to
book
you
doesn't want to do
not
anything.
believing them about anything when you find out this shit's not true.
Well, I mean, you believed in Santa Claus until last year, so
That's fair. Well, and I well documented. I think I shared this on the last podcast. I smoked pot for the first time after I graduated high school, like a couple weeks afterwards, and I didn't use any again for years. And I've not used a lot. I don't have experience using a bunch of hardcore drugs. But so it took me a little bit longer to learn that these things weren't true. But I knew people that did, and then these things weren't true, and then they didn't believe that the rest of the story.
and you're like,
And some people got really hurt because of that. Like, by lying to people, they made the situation worse.
true.
Well, now
yeah,
we
no,
got
because you, I mean, in case in point, I mean, like you take a town in which we grew up in, and you tell people these things from the jump when they're young, and when they find out that certain things aren't that bad, then they do get that false sense that other things can't be that bad either, and then you end up with, I would say, a giant substance abuse problem that spirals out of control, that could have been curbed, and it's the jump from something that is, I would say, today socially acceptable or legal, and now but then it was like, oh no, don't do any of these things, don't do that, that's really bad. And well, you got these kids running around taking all sorts of stuff, and I mean, how many people did we go to school with that died?
or are still in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But and on top of that, this campaign with the DARE officer and policing schools and increasing police presence, and these scare tactics made people afraid. They had the opposite effect. People were afraid to go to a teacher, or afraid to go to the police, or afraid to go to their parents because they thought they'd be arrested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
because
the war on drugs, like the war, I mean, I better pause here because we could go on this for an hour.
No, it definitely it created it definitely did the opposite in some respects, where it muted people, it silenced the people that would have probably spoken up, because now they're, well, I can't talk about it because I'm not supposed to. We're not supposed to know about this stuff, so why would I,
and people who use drugs are evil. So if I use someone's or my friends, then they're evil. So, they're going to get in trouble, right? Like, it's literally the opposite, it triggers the opposite effect. But I think when you think about it too, the DARE officer and bringing police into the schools, if you want to talk about things that have had real negative effects on the environment and on schools, like bringing police into the schools and having this police presence. I mean, what are we to now? Now we've got, I better stop. Yeah. I'm going to keep going off the bad
I know
track.
you could turn this into a totally different discussion. What we should do, refocus back on the book, because that is, I understand where you're going. But
we're at the school right now.
We're at the school right now.
And there's some kids talking, and we've got Ted's here. He's meeting
up with
people,
the group that he hangs out with.
But back in the background, we're introduced to Linda and Brian is using drugs. And again, nondescript, right? Brian, I don't like how those drugs are changing you, honey. Like, what drugs?
Yeah. What drugs?
Again, it's like the books in the 70s, the same thing, right? Or speaking specifically to heroin, or specifically to, they were uppers, right? But they were speaking to meth, right? Mm-hmm. And here they were using the vernacular of the time. And here again, it's just the generic drugs, like to drive through that all drugs are bad. Everything's bad. So anyway, we get we've got our very simple characters. We've got Ted, who's the ex-druggie. We've got Wally, the superhero. We've got Amy, his best friend's sister. And we've got Brian and Linda. All right, here we go. And Wally leaves because he's got to go to his own school.
Yep.
Does Wally go to a special school?
He must.
Maybe it's a superhero murdering school.
He doesn't go to any school. What we don't know is Wally's a dropout.
We don't. I think he goes to the Joker's maniacal murdering school.
Probably.
Well, here we go, and now we're gonna meet the drug dealer because what the hell? We have like sloppy blonde hair James Dean. Is he like a drug dealer from the 60s?
I don't know. I thought he was there to, chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Oh God. Okay.
But he's all out of bubblegum, so and ass kickings to deal out, so he's just gonna deal out some drugs.
And well, the bad kids wear leather jackets and dye their hair pink.
Yeah.
Because if you don't conform to normal dress code that the rest of the kids wear, or you dye your hair, or maybe you don't have enough money to wear the fucking clothes that the rest of the kids wear, you're clearly a fucking drug dealer.
So Roddy Piper and Jem and the Holograms are the drug dealers.
That would make Jem and the Holograms make sense. I always thought the Jem and the Holograms was like a bad ripoff of Dazzler.
I mean, kind of, sort of.
And Dazzler wasn't a great character to begin with.
And then, you gotta admit, like, what we get out of Jem and the Holograms, even if you don't like Jem and the Holograms, you get the Misfits. And the Misfits, we all know their music's better.
Yeah, that's fair.
Super fair.
Well, we've got a classroom now. And of course, everybody's sitting politely except the drug dealer who's like crossing his legs. And Ted knows polite? All the answers about. Ted knows all the answers about, well, you're a drug dealer. So Ted knows all the answers about John Brown and Harper's Ferry. So he apparently read up a lot, we find out, when he was recovering from drugs.
Right.
And meanwhile, the Protector goes up and beats some drug dealers. Okay.
I mean, he had a lot of time on his hands. That's what happens when you're in a institute. That's what they call them, right? Institutes.
The Institute. Well, we get a Protector fight down at the bottom of the page. I'm not sure why.
The Protector's just, he's beating up like all the, he's the fathers of the nation down there. So
that's true. He is.
He's beating up the fathers of invention. So he's got, he put was that a right cross on Tesla over there. And he hit Eli Whitney over there with the same one. Daddy Warbucks is back there. Oh, the Protector.
I thought he was going after U.S. Steel.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, he's U.S. Steel saying nothing without a lawyer. And then, this is just so he can have his soliloquy about how terrible drugs are. So the Protector's lines are, you don't care what drugs do to kids, do you? You'll sell them anything just to make a buck. But drugs hurt kids. Pot and hash can damage their lungs, hearts, and reproductive systems. Is this substantiated everywhere? And they're coming to get me right now. Can you hear them?
I can hear it.
This is terrifying. Like,
they heard you talking about the drugs.
I know. Well, uppers can bring on hallucinations, paranoia, convulsions, and even brain damage. Cocaine creates intense psychological dependence, anxiety, paranoia, damage to nasal passages, lungs, and heart that can result in death. I thought cocaine was not just psychologically addictive. I thought it was physically addictive. Am I wrong there? I'm starting to question myself because this expert book tells me otherwise.
I think you might be right. But he hit all the points on the cocaine.
And then he says, all drugs can kill you if you overdose. I want to see the person that overdoses on fucking pot.
I was just going to say, I don't think anybody's, that would be a lot. I don't know if that's possible.
Like, I'm sure there's a toxic level of pot at some point. There's a toxic level of beef. I'm going to have meatloaf. I'm sure I could overdose on that.
There's a toxic level of caffeine. You drink too much soda.
Yeah, and if you listen to, I would do anything for love too many times, you will die. Oh, yeah, that's true. Meatloaf, But I won't do that. You won't do that. That's right. I won't do that. Blast. So we went from like angry to really terrible jokes. I know we did. Well, you got to bring the levity. This is a terrible book again. So the next only 7 pages in, people. It's that bad. We get Ted and Amy. They apparently now go to the library together. Mm-hmm. They dress up in bikinis together?
Yeah.
And run
run
along the beach in Nebraska. And they went to see a Superman movie.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've been to Nebraska. I don't think there's any beaches. Maybe there's some lakes, but I mean, that looks like a beach to me.
Looks like a beach to me too. They look like they could be there with Gidget.
Yeah.
Well, now we get Starfire chasing down some drug dealers in a Trans Am. That is a fine Trans Am, if I might say.
Oh yeah. It's looking
what do you
good.
think? Who do you think that transforms into?
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, man, that looks like it. You know what? Sadly, based off of this book, I'm assuming it's not even a real transformer. It's a GoBot, dude.
It's a GoBot.
It's a GoBot. It just flips over, and the arms pop out of its underneath, and its feet are already there on the back. So
and exclusively sold at Kmart, right? And so that makes total sense because most Kmarts are just full of meth heads now.
There's only one left.
Well, I was kind of thinking like the buildings.
Oh, the buildings. Sadly they knocked down the Kmart in Kent. So the old building, yeah.
Have they knocked down the Kmart in Puyallup, or is it just something else?
No, they turned it into it's like a farm and feed store now, which is I find interesting because I mean there is still farmland in Puyallup, but it went from a very like family farm community to whatever it is now, and now it's going back to we should bring back the farms again.
Interesting. Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what COVID does to your brain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's happening here too in Kent.
Makes you want to be a farmer,
which is interesting because it's like, oh wow, there's farms again. Well, what happens is I think people like buy the property and they're like, I'm going to build a farm.
And what do you think they're farming?
Well, I don't know. They're raising goats for goat
drugs.
Yoga. Oh my God, the drugs.
Well, now we have Starfire beating up the people in the Trans Am, complaining about how terrible Earthlings are, and then remembering that they're not, and children and something. And then we get
just blast it, dude. She just like destroys it.
And then we get Cyborg fighting and saying, "No way, Turkey." I mean, if you just add in Jive Turkey, you could have really like white person writing a black person in the 70s sounding talk here.
That's true.
What the hell is happening there? Anyway, Cyborg doesn't get a lot of lines.
He doesn't. He's a cyborg. And
we got Cyborg, Wonder Girl, and Changeling, and Raven fighting some drug dealers. And of course, Raven announces because, I'm glad we don't have to take a drink every time she says, I am Raven, an empath, because we would be really drunk.
Yeah. If this whole entire run, like, this would be painful. That last book, we would be dead.
Yeah, we would have been dead. But this is the part, here it is again, right? I am Raven, an empath who senses pains and feelings, but all I sense in you is evil.
It's true.
These drug dealers look like they're gangsters from the 1940s.
They do. They look like they were chasing Nathaniel. Oh, Mr. Dusk, how I miss you in a good book.
I do miss, yes. I think Nathaniel Dusk would have cracked these cases a long time ago.
I think Nathaniel Dusk would have just he would have sewn these guys up real fast.
You know what the problem is, though? Nathaniel Dusk is a druggie.
It's
and
true.
Thus is evil.
Oh, God. Well, he doesn't. He does. Okay, to be honest.
He used drugs. He used drugs, Greg.
He uses the drink.
Yeah, but he also used drugs. Remember? They injected him with the drugs.
Well, it was rat poison, like drugs.
Look, one of these jerks should know when a big shipment is coming. So this is a school that Wally goes to. Apparently, is going to bust up drug dealers.
Oh, that's a good education right there. He's running circles around them.
Well, if this was the big shipment, we don't know because the Protector tells us obviously whoever's behind the shipment is keeping it a secret.
Oh.
And Cyborg's so like, what do we do? And he's like, well, we just hope a lead comes through. That's some fine detective work. That's where you know it's not Robin. Because I don't think Robin would be like, yeah, I just hope a lead comes through.
Yeah.
Otherwise, these drugs will be in school. No, Robin would be out there like... But they keep emphasizing this too. Like, otherwise, these drugs will be in the schools next week.
Mm-hmm. That it's imminent that next week.
Well, and also, it's just like a massive... Again, it's like a massive... If this is truly a problem, this is a massive oversimplification of the problem, right? And the notion that drugs are just like magically ending up in schools, right? There's no other, according to these comic books, there are no other places drugs are sold.
Not at the park?
They're not sold anywhere but schools.
The 7-Eleven?
Apparently not.
Oh,
I'm going to go for more of like the AM PM, but
okay. Well, yeah, that makes more sense too.
on Pacific Avenue in Parkland.
Okay. Well, I was thinking classic 7-Eleven South Hill.
Okay, that could
That's
work.
fair.
That's where I bought comics, though. That's not where I bought drugs.
Well, I guess we went there for different. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah, apparently.
I kid. Taco Bell.
Oof, you need drugs to go there. Well, the school day ends. They're out on the playground, and wouldn't you know it? But our friend Adam is giving some drugs out to Brian.
Oh, he's a good friend.
He's a good friend.
Yeah.
And then we end up with Brian, Ted, and Jem in the holograms.
Yeah.
On a hill.
Hey guys,
and they're going to, of course, pressure Brian into smoking this. Oh, this is the one.
This is the one. Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Pot laced with angel dust.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready for this one. Okay. So they give it to him, and apparently this is a thing. You talked about embalming fluid or PCP.
Yeah.
So I found an article from 2019 in Newsweek from Oklahoma, and the title is "Marijuana Laced with PCP Warning Issued After High Teenager Throws Baby on the Ground."
Oh, jeez.
It's an evil drug. And we have a quote from Mark Woodward of the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics. It's a very unpredictable drug, but it's an evil drug because the drug is. Did you know that substances can be good or evil?
I didn't know substances could be good or evil. I thought they could.
And then he says they want marijuana with an extra kick. It can cause very violent hallucinations. It can cause paralysis of the pain centers in the brain. So oftentimes they don't feel pain. A lot of people describe it as the user has superhuman strength, but they could be controlled, or that they couldn't be controlled. That's the characteristic of PCP because they just don't feel the pain that would normally stop a sober individual. Okay. You know how we could solve this, Oklahoma? Legalize pot, then people wouldn't buy it from a dealer, and then you wouldn't have this issue.
Yeah.
It seems really simple. Congratulations, Oklahoma, for leading the nation in teen pregnancy and not legalizing pot because it's dangerous when you could just solve this problem.
But morals.
By the way, I lived there for like a few years.
Just a few. Just a couple. I think, yeah, I mean, you make a good point. I mean, like it's definitely the people taking that moral high ground saying, oh, it's evil. It's not necessarily evil. It definitely, I mean, drugs are bad. Mr. Mackey said so. But yeah. the different types of things that people put in their body cause them to do different things. And PCP, unpredictable. And people are going to have different reactions to it, and throwing babies on the ground, very bad.
But again, it's this notion that the drug is evil. No, here's where the comic book may be right. It could be like the process of who's putting these things together or who's seeking out a certain type of thing, right?
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people in the world now smoking pot that's legal at the state level because it's still not legal at the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody can't keep their campaign promises. Oh, wait, they can't because they didn't want to legalize it. Now they want to magically right before the midterm. And then after the midterm, have you heard a word about legalization since the election passed?
No.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's only a few days, but I haven't heard anything. Well, maybe we can put the same sort of pressure on this that Ted's getting here to smoke the PCP-laced pot. Apparently it doesn't do much to you because Adam just looks at them up on the hill and is all happy, but we can't really tell because he's wearing sunglasses because he's cool.
Well, he's a pusher. He's not a user.
Well, now Ted goes back to the movies with Amy and freaks the fuck out and leaves because apparently Superman sucks and Amy sucks for asking him a question.
Yeah, he's changing.
Yeah. Well, he changed after, and then Adam is talking to like 6-year-olds.
I know. These kids are like tiny.
Yeah, and he's selling drugs to 6-year-olds. So, I mean, if you're selling drugs to 6-year-olds, then I do think you're evil and you probably should go to jail for like ever.
Oh, yeah. You're a bad dude.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Yeah.
And then he gives them some pot. So he's giving pot to 6-year-olds. I don't know what's happening
take
right
this,
now.
kids.
Well, anyway, now Ted doesn't like Amy anymore. He likes Gem and the Holograms.
Yeah.
He likes Gem.
It's
And
interesting too. Like Ted, his face has changed since he started doing drugs.
yeah, now he's like maniacal.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And then he just gets up and tells Mr. Brown, his favorite history teacher, to stuff it and won't sit in his seat. He's become a terrible human being again. And he looks downright scary on page 14. He looks like a Mad Magazine cover.
He does.
And then he leaves, and Brian leaves with him, and man, drama everywhere.
Right. It's just like, it's bad.
Well, and then we've got the girls go to see Wally and ask for help. And of course, after they ask Wally for help, he turns into Kid Flash. But they do have to get out. They make sure they point out, Linda and Amy point out that they've suggested some parent-kid support groups. They have them down at school, you know. You could go together. But then Wally becomes Kid Flash, and he goes to see the Protector.
Protector.
He looks like he may be sneaking up on the Protector.
No, not yet.
Well, then we get some great Protector dialogue, and these are some more reasons that Wally wanted to kill the Protector. So we get a question from the parents group, and one of the parents says, "I heard drugs like cocaine and amphetamines aren't addictive."
Oh.
In fact, they're calling you right now to let you know that cocaine and amphetamines are indeed not addictive. It's like the Protector answers wrong. And first of all, I would like to know who the person was or where they heard that cocaine and amphetamines aren't addictive. Greg, I heard you can attack the Capitol building and not go to jail.
I think you're wrong about that.
Well, I heard that, and it's true. I heard all the elections are false.
I think you're wrong about that too.
Well, the Protector would tell me, wrong, cocaine, amphetamines, marijuana, and hashish are psychologically addictive. The user feels like he must take the drug.
Ah, speaking from experience, I see.
I guess. That's fair. Drugs like barbiturates, diluted, how do you say that?
Diluted?
That's the name of a prescription med.
Yeah, it's what you take when you're like in a lot of pain and you just don't take it for fun.
Percodan, heroin, morphine, and others are physically addictive. Okay, yes. So we're aware of that, and so is the Sackler family.
Yeah. I think
I really thought Kane, the wrestler, is physically addictive. Actually, I think Kane was probably on some of these because he thinks the election was rigged, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's the big, he's a big Donald Trump supporter now?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's like the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
Interesting.
Did you not know this?
I did not know that.
Like Kane?
I did not know.
Fire and brimstone? Fighting the Undertaker? He's the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
I was gonna say on point with what we were saying before with some of their things being inaccurate and stuff like that. Amphetamines are not psychologically, I mean, yes, they are psychologically addictive, but they are physically addictive as well.
Yes.
So
highly physically addictive.
I
believe there was a television show about it.
There's a television show about it. There's maybe scientific studies. I'm not a doctor, but I know I just know.
Did you hear about the screen test for Breaking Bad in the UK or in the EU?
No.
The people that watched the show asked why Walter White didn't just go to the doctor and have his cancer treated for free.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well, I can understand that from from that perspective. Obviously, yes, their health care is a lot different there, where they can go to the doctor.
So maybe if access to health care was free, these young drug addicts could just walk in and get treatment, and they wouldn't be scared.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to have a war on drugs. So, well, anyway, the Protector continues, and the user suffers severe withdrawal pains. Frankly, it comes down to this. All drugs are ultimately addictive and destructive, so it's best not to start taking them. Jackie, you feel up to telling your story, And then we have another 6-year-old that talks about smoking dope and hash and speed and some Quaaludes.
Man,
and he was in real pain after a while. I'm going to counter that. I think if you're on all of those things, you probably are feeling no pain.
I'm probably feeling no pain until the drugs wear off, and then your body's like, I need that again. And then your body's like, oh.
Well, there's only one of those things that's addictive that he listed, like the meth, right? So, but yeah,
your body will want that, and you will be in pain.
That could definitely be a problem.
Yeah.
So it did. I imagine it probably did hurt getting off meth. So yeah, that's fair. I mean, so far, accuracy wise, we've got one kid here. Okay. But that's, again, this whole psychologically addictive bullshit, right? Like most humans can take an edible and not take one forever again if they don't want one.
True.
Okay. Well, we're back.
Oh no, Robin's back too.
And Ted's back on drugs, and the Protector's going to get his dealer.
The Protector totally looks like Robin again.
I would also like to point out that the Protector is the worst character in all of DC Comics because his one job was to protect Ted. Like, that's why he became a superhero.
Yeah. I'm going to protect my cousin.
And then his cousin's back on drugs. So he's clearly losing the war.
This is, from a writing perspective, this is Marv, why have you failed us?
Yeah. Well, he just wanted, there are continued battles in a war, you see. And
I see.
You know, we've got to continue to fight the drugs.
Yes, that's true.
Well, anyway, they get there and the Protector comes in and Ted sees the Protector and starts running away, which makes no sense because I believe doesn't Ted know the Protector is his cousin, or does he not?
I don't think he knows it.
Does he not know?
I don't think he
knows.
We
may have to reference
cousin.
The Who's Who entry later and find out. Well, anyway, Kid Flash saves them from being hit by a truck. Cool. And the Protector too. Awesome. Because when you're on drugs, you just run out in front of trucks inexplicably.
It's true.
Or could it be because you think the police are coming after you and you're running away?
I see it all the time downtown.
Yeah, so if drugs were decriminalized, then maybe people would seek help instead of running away from the police, but they would actually seek help.
Yeah. Here's a question. Do you think when Ted found out that his cousin was a superhero and he really liked his costume and stuff like that, that's what spurred him to want to become a wrestler later in life?
It's entirely possible.
Okay. I'm thinking so.
I don't think... Yeah, I don't know if we should continue the Teddy Hart discussion. But
sorry.
I thought that was gone. It came back. It's my fault because I brought it up. So
you brought it up.
It came back, and then there it was. Well, now we get another soliloquy from the Protector.
Oh, man. It is panels.
Because Brian says, "Don't give us no rap about drugs, man. I've heard it all from my folks. And I'm sick of it. Drugs aren't so bad." And the Protector says, "Really? What do you take? Pot? It impairs your memory perception. It damages the lungs, heart, and reproductive system. Oh, yeah?
Before.
It also may damage your ability to fight other diseases. Alcohol causes heart and liver damage, uppers, bennies, dexies, loss of appetite, hallucinations, paranoid convulsions, even brain damage." Or at least we're getting closer as we go up the chain here.
Uh-huh.
You want me to go on? Cocaine brings on sleepiness?
I think sleepiness?
Cocaine brings on sleepiness.
It should be sleeplessness.
Cocaine brings on sleepiness.
Everybody that I've ever seen doing anything like that, they are definitely not going to bed anytime soon.
Isn't there that famous movie where the guy snorts a lot of cocaine at his desk and then goes to sleep?
Oh, yeah. He goes to sleep and he's got his M16 with his grenade launcher, and he doesn't shoot up the house at all. He just goes to
sleep.
He goes to Nappy Town. Yeah,
depression, anxiety, it damages your nasal passages
it
and
does
lungs.
The depression and anxiety thing. I've seen that because that was in the same movie because he was very depressed and he was very anxious, and that's why he shot up the house and went after his sister.
I believe caffeine can do the same thing.
Yes.
Caffeine can cause sleeplessness. Mm-hmm. Depression, anxiety. It doesn't damage your nasal passage unless you're snorting Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe caffeine does all those things too. I don't know why I'd bring that up considering this is sponsored by the ABA?
Yeah, the ABA. Well, now the ABA, but the previously known
And it's the
soft
same
drinks.
group.
Yeah.
They sponsored this shit.
Yeah.
Downers, barbs, red and blue pills, they can bring on infection, drowsiness, slurred speech, and nausea. Add to it all that any of them can kill you if you overdose. Any of them. They're saying this again. Like,
you got to beat it into your head, dude.
You got to scare. I mean, this terrified me as a kid.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So drugs don't do anything, pal? No, they make sure you won't be able to do anything ever again.
Yeah.
And you know what? Protector Wally West will also make sure that you don't do anything ever again.
It's true. Wally West is like your drug.
And look at Wally in the background right there.
I know.
It's like he wants to murder the Protector. He's like, if he gives one more fucking speech, I'm going to break his neck.
And he'll do it so fast that the Protector will never see it coming.
I swear, if I forget to make the cover of this podcast, like the Protector dead in a field somewhere.
Oh my God.
I have screwed up in life. I'm going to have to dig out that comic book too. So
sad. The Protector's such a cool dude. He just wanted to help people.
He's such a cool dude.
Just wants to help.
Has like, you nailed. He has like, the most generic luchador costume in the universe. Like, if you were gonna create a luchador on a video game, this would be like the auto feature.
Okay. I'm 100%. Like, if I ever go to a show and somebody is dressed as a Protector, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I'm gonna go to a show dressed as the Protector. This is what's gonna happen.
I'm all for this cosplay. If somebody cosplays the Protector,
we're gonna have to give me some hair.
Well, yeah, you can get a wig, but
we need to ask Anne to design me a Protector costume.
Sadly, I mean, she can design it in color schemes and stuff like that. She can't create it.
Well, I know. I just need her to design it, and then we can.
But I mean, if somebody ever comes up to me at a show dressed as the Protector, dude, I'm buying you a burger or something.
Well, just give them a free book.
I will give you a free book.
That's what you're at the show for.
Yeah, I'll give you a free book. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for getting into my profits.
You'll give them a free book. I'll pay for the book.
I'll give you a free episode of the podcast. Oh, wait,
womp,
it's already
womp.
free. Wah, wah. I would give you a free book. That's some commitment right there.
Well, now we're in Ted's room, and it looks like your office.
Oh, dude, that is messed up. Are you watching me on cam right now? That's cold. Oh, wait, the cam doesn't work on this computer. Oh, no, it does.
And the parents are there. You're back on them, aren't you? The symptoms are the same.
Get off my case, will you?
Was he doing?
I know what I'm doing.
Marijuana dipped PCP? Like, is that what he was doing before? Or,
I don't know.
I don't know.
It didn't say what he would do. He was just doing the drugs. So he's doing the drugs again. The symptoms are the same.
The symptoms are the same, as in your face changes and looks maniacal.
Yeah, you do the drugs.
And then he says, get off my case, will you? I know what I'm doing. Side note, It is sort of criminal to make, and we all had this growing up too, but to make like a kid who looks like he's like 6'1" keep sleeping in a twin size bed.
I know.
Maybe that's why he's on drugs. He fucking hurts.
It's uncomfortable, man. I mean, like you're hanging off, your feet are hanging off. You still have, and you're still your brain's still like a child, so you still feel like if your feet are hanging off, the monster's gonna get you. But you're not supposed to think that because you're old enough to know that there's no monster under the bed or whatever. But your foot pokes out, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, it's gonna get me. Can't help it because you're 6'1".
That's true. Well, we have the after school special moment. Are you ready?
Oh yeah.
So I'm ready. Ted and the parents yell at each other. Ted storms out. The parents say, Frank, this is Paul Hart. Can you round up the support group? We need lots of help. Lots. Okay. So he's called in for help. And then here we are. We've got Adam / is that Prince Adam?
Prince Adam. It kind of does
when
look
Prince
like,
Adam went
I was
bad.
going to say, before we even turn the page, like his dad looks like the $6 million man.
He does. And then on the next page, we have Prince Adam, who has clearly lost his sword.
Oh my God, the evil horde. Yeah.
And okay, we've got Prince Adam and Gem, and her name's Coral, by the way. Just
Coral, because her hair is coral color. That makes so much sense.
Is that what color Coral is?
I don't know. That's what the color on the side of the box says.
Okay. Well, cool.
Coral.
Well, anyway, they're talking and they're plotting. Ha ha ha. Oh, Adam, don't be silly. I only care about you. Ha ha. Because he's been hanging around. But you weren't paying any attention to me, so I decided to make you jealous. Ha ha ha. He's like, hey, great. Using the big drops going down tonight. I don't even know what that word is. Listen. Okay, listen, not using. Listen. Those letters. Ben Oda, come on, like get the job done here. Afterwards, you and me will celebrate. And then Ted finds out she never liked me. Oh God! And then Ben is on the floor of the boys' bathroom snorting coke. Now I think.
Yeah.
Where did he get the coke from?
Like
a few pages ago, Adam wouldn't give them anything.
But he got it.
Well, anyway, then even though he's not used any coke at all,
I need it.
He needs it, but it's only psychologically addictive. So I don't, according to this book.
Yeah.
Let me stress that. According to this book, cocaine is only psychologically addictive. So he needs it so bad, he attacks his friend. And then they snort cocaine off the floor because that's what you do for psychologically addictive substances. They would cause you to put your nose on the floor and get every last ounce.
If you think you need it, you need it.
Or gram.
Yeah.
Sorry, gram. Milligram?
I'm assuming. Yeah, hopefully the floor was clean.
Nah, they were snorting piss.
It was to emphasize
that's a high
dirtiness.
School boys' bathroom.
Oh,
that
yeah,
floor is
it's
not clean.
disgusting. It's filthy. That floor is sticky with gross, and they're getting all sorts of. That's why they're opening themselves up to all sorts of disgusting stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah. And
I like that
Juliet
for a long time they sat there lapping up food, like hungry animals, hunkered like animals.
Juliet was clearly angry with them.
Yeah, she was
idiots.
Yeah, dummies.
So, well, anyway, now they go looking for stuff from Adam, and he won't sell them anything because he's a dick.
He's like, I need my money, man.
He gives them a joint or something.
It's like, take this.
And then they decide they need more drugs, so they go rob a supermarket. And then the owner of the supermarket shoots the black kid because he's the one wielding the knife. Because, see, white kids don't do anything wrong. And when you go for a armed robbery, it's the black kid with a knife, right? Because that's what happens in real life. Only black people do crimes.
That is...
And so...
sadly, the narrative that is painted...
Marv Wolfman is painting in this comic book.
Yeah.
Like, you want to tell me that this comic book is laced with... Did any of the white kids in the last book go commit a crime like this?
No.
Grr. My response should probably be more than grr, but when I read this, I just looked at it and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I think
menacing black man threatens white store owner. Marv, this is lazy writing.
It is.
Really lazy writing.
I think when I hit this page, I was like, this is very, very much a piece set in time, but it's sad that this piece set in time has been the narrative for decades.
Well, the decade of the 70s, since the comics we read between what happened in society between the comics we read last and these ones was the narrative of Nixon and the Southern strategy, right? And vilifying the black community. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, no, and the sad part though is that this is still, until we actively make changes, this is the ongoing narrative, correct?
Yeah. So hands up, don't shoot, right? Like that's
and even if you flip it and you put the knife in Ted's hands and his friend still gets shot because that's the same. That's just how it plays out.
And the white kid is so traumatized by this violence that he runs away.
Instead of taking ownership of his actions and being there for his friend in his last few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like it's weird because it looks like that Brian is not hit, but he goes down like he's hit with the bullet. So I guess we'll find out what happened. Ted runs away. He continues to run, and then he gets home and he's fallen down, and he ends up with Amy. He's like, Amy, please help me. This is so very different than Speedy going and saying, I want to help myself, right?
Yeah, it's very different.
But he seeks out the one true person that can help him, not his parents. You know, maybe this is reflexive of how the drug war was, because he runs away and hides and won't talk to authorities or anything, and avoids everyone. And maybe that was the result that they wanted in the story.
Maybe.
Well, we go back to the Titans, who are clearly an afterthought in this story because they're going to take down a drug shipment. Congratulations, Titans and Protector. Is that a good summary of these pages? We got some more pronouncements too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good summary. And it's on a boat, so it's a literal shipment.
And it sounds, and here's the 1984 bullshit again. Trouble is, there's 1,000 more like them, 1,000 more who don't care what happens to the kids once they sell them the drugs. The best way to put filth like this out of business is to make kids aware that they shouldn't take drugs in the first place. Without customers, these creeps would just shrivel away. It's like, but it also paints this like ending war, right? It's an never ending battle, right? It's always going to be there. It's a never ending battle. We're the Reagan administration through this comic is going to completely advocate any responsibility that the government has to actually solve the problem. We can't solve this problem because it's never ending. There's no possible steps we could do to solve this problem, like legalizing substances that aren't.
But what they are doing by
or decriminalizing things. No, we're going to make sure this is an ongoing war forever.
But what they're doing by saying that is making themselves by giving themselves the agency to continue that fight, pour the money into it, continue any efforts and ongoing actions or any actions moving forward to continue that, right? And that's what they did.
Yep.
For years, and creating rules, regulations, laws, stipulations, and things that would penalize people for things that are now being overturned because, well, it's, as we found.
Do you want to guess the cost of the war on drugs between 1981 and 2020?
Oh, I can't. Trillions of dollars.
$34.6 billion.
Billion. Okay. I was thinking more. I'm sure there's more money that's been put into it, and they have allocated it in other ways that they justify it without.
In 2022, the national drug control budget is estimated to hit a historic level of $41 billion. That's under the current administration.
That's wild to me.
The Prison Policy Initiative, a think tank and criminal justice advocacy group, found that 1 in 5 currently incarcerated people in the U.S. are locked up for a drug offense. The same research estimates that it costs an average of about $37,500 annually to house an inmate in federal correctional facilities, and that mass incarceration costs the U.S. at least $182 billion a year. That's the result of this.
Well, and then, that all goes into privatized prisons and, facilities, either privatized corrections facilities and or privatized hospital facilities in which treatment care facilities where the money is getting funneled in to take care of those, I'm going to use air quotes that no one can see, criminals and or patients, so that everybody on those ends of the spectrum are making money.
And we have a great example of 2 patients in the hospital. So there's Brian there looking pretty good. Generally, you house gunshot victims in the same room as people that are in a recovery ward, right?
Well, maybe they're going through recovery together,
Maybe there's a shortage on hospital beds because
of all the drug use.
Well, now we get the end, and Raven's got to find people that are in pain, so she's going to go look out for folks. Great. Okay.
Right.
Did you know that she can sense pain?
I know. She can.
Take a drink.
Does she say that? Shut up.
Yes, she says, I sense pain. The child is hurt. And at the bottom of the page, she says, friend, then it must have been his pain I sensed.
Oh.
So yes, she says it twice on the same page.
Oh my gosh. Double drink.
Well, she senses Ted and Brian, and it's awful. Okay.
Okay.
So Okay, now we're in the hospital. Ugh, everybody's there. I feel better too, Dad. Thanks to Raven for finding me and getting me here. But I also feel like an idiot for taking drugs again, which is my doing. I forced you into it. He's like, no, I knew right from wrong too. So now okay, cool.
He elected to take them.
Okay, great. Everybody loves them. They'll be okay.
Yep.
We're going to have a happy ending. And the girls say, you can count on us, but there's nothing in it for us if you remain druggies. That's disturbing in and of itself. I don't know. Should I start talking about the implications of this? We've got two young women who were abused by their boyfriends, and they're standing up for them as long as they get clean.
Yeah, it's a hard sell. I mean, with that kind of lens, you sit there and you go, you take a look at it and you're like, oh yeah, wait, these guys totally treated them like crap, and verbally and emotionally abused them.
I believe the psychological scars of that are much greater than any psychological scars accumulated through smoking pot.
Yeah, I kind of but with love, you can heal everything, right?
Right, love heals all, apparently.
Yeah,
and an ascot.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Protector's work is finished here. He's so again, the Protector is the worst. So his goal was to keep Ted off drugs. He failed to do that. And then Ted is in a hospital recovering, and the Protector's like, yeah, we're done here.
My one job was to protect you, cousin. But
I failed at that.
Well, I sent my buddy over there, Wally, to look after you.
Yeah, but then I had him come back and help me bust up drug dealers. See?
And then he dropped the ball, so I'm gonna hold him. That's why Wally wants to kill him later. Is the Protector always was like, you didn't keep my cousin safe. You dropped the ball.
Jeez.
And Wally just was like, it just built up, always having that over his head. And then when he found out that the Protector himself was doing drugs, he was like, that's it. This hypocrite. Screw you.
I drove him over that's what drove him over the edge to make him murder people. That was it. Wow. Well, it's another fine issue and we have one more next week. And by the way, there's more in this issue. We have choices people make.
Oh my gosh, choices. Yeah.
Yeah. We got choices, and then we get fill in the bubble, write your own comic. We've got what it means to be responsible.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay.
And then really communicating.
Yeah. And then of course we get the thinking for yourself. No peer pressure. Don't do what's on social media.
Don't do those things.
And then we get the last page again, where you can write the declaration, you will not use drugs.
That's right.
The Protector's telling us. And then created by DC Comics in cooperation with your local soft drink bottlers and the National Soft Drink Association, who are peddling addictive drugs.
When you think about it, yeah. Sugary sodas, some with caffeine.
Sugary caffeinated sodas. Caffeine's one of the most addictive substances on Earth.
Yeah.
Yet we just read a whole comic about how things are addictive.
But
holy shit, Greg.
If they sell at the grocery store, Dan, it should be okay, yeah?
Oh, God. Okay. I made it through this one, sort of, but these are getting less fun.
Wait, these are supposed to be fun?
These are getting less fun. And we have another one.
I know.
There's one more.
One more. Yeah.
And I'm sure the next one's going to advocate for like free drug treatment and a needle exchange programs and decriminalization. So people will seek help, and maybe pot legalization. So people will buy pot from a reputable like shop and it won't be laced with PCP. The next one's going to recommend all those things, right?
I highly doubt it.
Oh God.
I highly doubt it.
Okay.
It's going to it's going to have a roadmap to where all the Norcam vending machines are in your local area in case you need them.
Oof. Do you think it'll have a warning against prescription drugs? Because, in these two books so far, I haven't seen anything. I mean, I did see some prescription drugs mentioned on that one page, right?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen much about prescription drugs and how dangerous they could be. I haven't seen anything about not taking your dad's back medicine or anything out of there, or I haven't seen anything about adults like taking a bunch of pain meds or anything. Have you?
No, I have not. And
Oh.
it's surprising because I mean we started getting that messaging, like I want to say we didn't start getting that kind of messaging until
90s.
I was going to say like maybe about 20, more like 20 years ago.
Yeah, we'd have to look up the campaigns, but I mean, it's not here, right? Like the responsibility for drug addiction is all on some unnamed, vaguely racist figures coming from another country, right? That are importing the drugs in. We even saw the helicopters in the first book.
Yeah.
And again, a stark contrast to the Green Lantern, Green Arrow book, where the corporation was manufacturing the heroin in their facility and then sending it out to make money off of it.
Right.
Where corporations seem to be completely out of the picture now. It's the drug war we're having with the unnamed neighbors in the South, right? And
the entities.
Of course, in true 1984 fashion, we don't actually name them, so we can just keep renaming them anytime the landscape changes.
Right. It's just so the bad people.
Yeah, so today it's a war on PCP. Tomorrow it's a war on cocaine. The next day it's a war on heroin, which honestly I'm kind of okay with wars on. But I shouldn't say wars on, but
I know actually the fight against
the things you were describing for heroin, right, would be more of what I would like to see. But needle exchanges and things like that. But yeah, I mean, talking about problems we should actually take care of. But and then we get into it's amazing, right?
It's going to be interesting when we jump into the next book. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I've never heard you sound so depressed about the next book you have to read.
I really hope Danny Chase shows up.
Danny Chase does not show up.
Damn it. I'm out. I'm not watching. I'm not watching. I'm not coming. I'm not going to record next time.
Well, we've finished the one sponsored by soft drinks, and now we're going to get one sponsored by the IBM Corporation. Nobody better to tell you about drug use than an entire company where people wore black suits, white shirts, and black ties.
That's right. Oh, wow. They're into ska music? Cool.
Do ska music people work for IBM?
No, but they wear black suits, white shirts, and black ties.
Are you sure? They don't work for IBM? You can't.
I'm a time bomb. Oh, yeah.
You don't know.
That's true.
Prove they don't.
What? That they work that hand in hand? Both the same. They could be doing the same thing. You could be into ska and work at IBM.
Well, as a preview to the next issue, you'll be excited to find out that Lois Lane makes an appearance.
Really?
Yep.
You're gonna spoil it like that?
Yep. That's my teaser for the next time.
So
stay with us. Stay with us. If this wasn't depressing enough, stay with us, and we're going to talk the third New Teen Titans drug book, sponsored by IBM, guest starring Lois Lane,
and how she fought drugs. First, she started with alcohol, and then she went to pot,
and then she went to,
and then she went to Superman, and she got real high. He took her over the city.
Took her over the. Maybe next week we can read the poem from Superman movie that she recites while flying.
Oh my! What a treat!
Well, I'm intrigued too, but not really. On that note, I think that finishes up this episode. Unless you have any feedback, don't you want to plug all of your things after reviewing this book?
I have no feedback. If you like what we're talking about and these drug books and you want a book that's about drugs, Starlight on Kickstarter, written by Travis Webb and myself, drawn by Brett Wadelli and lettered by Tom Oranjowski. You're going to love that because nothing says don't do drugs. Do drugs. I don't know.
Like Starlight. Nothing says don't do drugs like Starlight. Yeah, there. Just end it right there. You're good. Yeah. Perfect. Yep. Do you have another Kickstarter out right now?
No.
When is the next one coming?
Not that I know of. I mean, did something else happen?
Yeah, maybe. It could be there. I don't know. Yes.
That's the problem. I'm involved with so many things. I know we're gearing up for some other stuff. I
think you're gearing up for the next one.
I know we're ramping up. Starlight Kickstarter is still going. Got another like week and a half, 2 weeks, and then I know, if you like
By the
weird
time
stuff,
this episode comes out, it'll probably be about wrapped up. But
Scrape should ship. So if you back Scrape, we should be shipping and or getting more info out about that, because where production is what it is. But we'll have some updates for that. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait to hear more. Can't wait to read more. And I think it's about time we wrap this up. So thanks for hanging on to us on this episode of Funny Book Forensics. And hopefully we'll get through these 80s drug comics and we're going to get into another era soon.
Ooh, another era.
Thanks, everyone. One listener, we love you.
Bye.